Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and for those of you who are new here, welcome. Today we're going to talk about what El Camino reveals about PTSD and silence. If you're not familiar with the movie El Camino, it is a sequel to the movie Breaking Bad that follows Jesse Pinkman 6 months after the events of the series. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but one thing that the movie does incredibly well is depict the lasting effects of trauma, and how they can manifest in seemingly small or insignificant ways. Jesse Pinkman is a great example of someone struggling with the effects of PTSD. He has flashbacks, nightmares, and he self-medicates with drugs and alcohol. He also struggles to maintain relationships, and he's constantly looking over his shoulder, waiting for something to go wrong. We see him jump at loud noises, and he's easily startled. All of these are classic signs of someone struggling with PTSD, but there's another sign that Jesse exhibits that is often overlooked in discussions of PTSD, and that is silence. Jesse is a very quiet person throughout the movie. He doesn't talk much, and when he does, it's often in a monotone voice. He seems almost checked out from the world around him. At first, this might not seem like a big deal. After all, some people are just naturally more quiet. But when you look at it from the perspective of someone with PTSD, it makes a lot more sense. After experiencing a traumatic event, many people withdraw socially. They do want to talk about what happened to them, and they feel like they can't unconnect with other people the way they used to. This is because the trauma has caused them to develop negative beliefs about themselves and the world around them. They might feel ashamed or embarrassed about what happened to them, or they might feel like they're not worthy of love or connection. Whatever the reason, the end result is the same. They isolate themselves and they don't reach out for help. Another reason why Jesse might be silent is because he's trying to process his trauma. When we experience a traumatic event, our brains go into shock. We don't process what happens to us until long after the event has occurred. In Jesse's case, he's been silent for 6 months. That's a lot of time to process a lot of trauma. The silence is not just about avoiding talking about the trauma. It's also about avoiding feeling the trauma. When we feel the trauma, we have to confront the negative emotions associated with it. And for someone like Jesse, who has already experienced a lot of negative emotions, that can be very difficult. The third reason why Jesse might be silent is because he's afraid to open up. When we open up to someone about our trauma, we're putting ourselves in a vulnerable position. We're letting someone else in to see the darkest parts of ourselves. And that can be very scary. For Jesse, this is probably a very difficult decision. He's been through so much and he doesn't know if he can trust anyone else. To be honest, I don't blame him. If you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button. It really helps me out. Overall, Jesse's silence is a very important part of the movie. It allows us to see the lasting effects of trauma on a character who is clearly struggling to cope. It also gives us a glimpse into the mind of someone who is suffering in silence. As viewers, it is important to remember that not everyone who is silent is doing so because they're being passive-aggressive or they're angry. Some people are silent because they're hurting and they don't know how to ask for help. Some people are silent because they're trying to process their trauma. And some people are silent because they're afraid to open up. If you or someone you know is struggling with PTSD, please reach out for help. There are resources available to help you cope with your symptoms and move forward with your life. You don't have to do this alone. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked this video, please share it with someone who could use it. Until next time,